Now, this idea of monarchs is very against the very foundation of the American system. That was built on the idea of freedom of liberty, freedom of conscience, freedom to worship as you see fit. But this president, the 47, which happens to be, not by coincidence, we did a whole episode on the inauguration of Trump as the 47th president, and we showed how it was not a normal presidential election or the anointing of a president. It was a coronation of a king that was done in the inner circles with billionaires around, and the color of his tie, and the apotheosis of Washington, which is the deification of man without God. All of this is trying to get the mindset of changing America from a place of freedom of worship to a place of forced worship. And this was posted on the White House official social media account, and they shared a photo of Trump wearing a crown with the words, "Long live the king." And it was over price congestion. It says congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Very interesting word. Long live the king, President Donald J. Trump. So, this concept is trying to, whether people hate him or love him, they're trying to instill the mindset that he is trying to become a monarch of a country that typically has had no king. And there just so happens to be no king protests going around the United States. This is Hegelianism happening right in front of our faces.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to underline something as a disclaimer that we've said many times before. We are not political. We are not choosing a political side. So sometimes when you see things that we put up here or the commentary we make, this is not like we're trying to pick a side, whether Democrat or Republican or left or right. This is not at all. We're looking at this prophetically and prophetically only. And as Christ said, my kingdom is not of this world. So there are some that are supporting this and they see it just as tongue in cheek. There are some that are thinking that this is exactly what's happening, that we're entering tyranny. Brothers and sisters, the royal bloodlines have been through all the presidents that we've had in the United States. Nothing is new under the sun. In the past, they were kings. In modern times, they're prime ministers and they're presidents. But really, it's the same bloodlines that are still ruling the world. Nothing has really changed.
That's exactly right. And I think when you want to think that America is a free and open, election based democratic process, but you really understand how the world works, you'll see that these presidents have been pre selected. You'll see that they all come from Roman lineage and royal lineage. And there is, I hate to say it, no left or right political part of the spectrum that is going to come and change things. That's why the Bible is our guide. It is a lamp unto our feet, a light unto our path, because both left and right end in the same spot. The king of the north and the king of the south in Daniel 11, it's all ending in the same point. And so I think a lot of what we want to point to is just getting people ready and in the mindset that do not expect things to change. The Bible has already told us what's going to happen. The only thing that's going to change is what mechanisms will they use to get us to unite church and state. But this concept of Trump as a king has been kind of prevailing over his whole presidency. Here he has a Trump timed cover where he's presented as a king. This video was posted by JD Vance, and I've never seen, I guess we haven't had AI long enough, but it's almost like it's a mockery of the United States to show these AI videos. And I'm not even going to show the one where Trump just posted himself with a crown and a plane dumping stuff onto a crowd of people. But JD Vance here posted a video of him as a king with all Democrats bowing down to him. Please forgive the music on this. It's terrible. But just to show, this is from October 18th, 2025, just to show the mindset of where this is going to try to get people under this idea of this monarchy here in America. Kneel to the crown.
It's basically trolling, of course. I mean, this is, not to be taken seriously, like tongue in cheek. I mean, that's the whole point, and it's riling people up. But there's always some truth in a joke, isn't there?
Yeah. Regardless of whether it's a joke, it's like desensitizing people. And then even the moves that he's making, we were talking about off camera about some of the deployment of troops in the states, how he's, moving against the cartels in other nations, almost starting things, wars, all based on more actions of a king than actions of a president who's supposed to do the will of the people, not just act independently as this chaos tyrant, which is really more of what I'm seeing than that of a normal president.
Yeah, if you study the history of Rome, because essentially what America is doing is essentially sort of an extension of the Roman Empire at this time. I mean, it's the second beast that comes up in Revelation 13:11 and gives all of its, fealty in a sense, and ultimately to worship the first beast, for the whole world to worship the first beast. And if you look at Rome and the way that it began, it started very small and built over time, but it was always involved in other countries in the sense of being protectors or having to do with commerce. And it was always based around commerce and money. And this is the United States, the same thing. So when you see, unilateral strikes happening in international waters and, taking out, boats that are allegedly carrying drugs, I'm not saying either way, but I'm just saying it's like, it doesn't really matter. What's happening essentially is the Roman power is exercising itself.
Mm.
And if I can just add something in here, just looking at that JD Vance post, it reminded me of what we read in Daniel chapter 11, actually, of how the king of the north at the end of time, this religious right, is going to conquer over the king of the south, the left, so it's very interesting. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, it's funny because Nancy Pelosi, who's like the key figure in this bowing down, she's a Roman Catholic, hardcore Roman Catholic. And so she wanted to take the ambassador to the Vatican position. And so even within the Hegelianism of left and right, you have agents working on both sides to make sure that the right moves politically are coming together for this fusion. I mean, look at the Supreme Court of the United States. On the surface, it looks like 6 of 9 judges, but it's actually 7 of 9 judges have Roman Catholic backgrounds, very hardcore Roman Catholic influences, even though Catholics are only 23% of the American population. They're vastly overrepresented in the Supreme Court. And I think that just further shows, like, I have articles saved that I'm going to be posting on Patreon about how the Supreme Court is helping Trump break down the walls of church and state. Well, that makes perfect sense because you've got a Roman Catholic system, a chaos magician in Trump who looks evangelical, yet he has mass happening at his house, yet his daughter and his brother-in-law are Shabbat Jews, and he's negotiating peace deals in the Middle East. There are people who are now trying to identify Trump as the Antichrist because of this poor false theology on this 7-year peace agreement that's being made, that I actually think Rome is setting him up to look like the Antichrist again, to distract the true identification of who that is. And so I can't tell you how many people on my Twitter feed show that, oh, I think Trump is the Antichrist. Oh, he's negotiating this peace agreement. Yet in evangelical America, he's seen as the representation of Christian ideals that puts Paula White Cain at the head of the White House Faith Office, the epitome of satanic Christianity coming from the Paula White Cain view of the gospel. So he's playing many roles for many people. And even on this video, you're right, there is a left and right dynamic, but the left still has Roman Catholic agents that are making sure things get pushed along properly in the effort to unify church and state.
I think, mentioning the king of the north and the king of the south is very important because that is a great way to understand it. So you have a situation where one side is creating a problem and then the other side provides the solution, but the whole thing was planned out from one source.
And that's how Daniel 11 reads. Neither side, king of north or king of the south, neither one are God's powers. They're both Satan's powers pushing against each other in different ways till you get this synthesis, which the final version is always going to be religious and Christian looking. We saw that in the Alice A. Bailey and Lucius Trust episodes. They need the Christian churches. They need them light on doctrine. They need them malleable because Satan needs the last version when he shows up to be a world ready to accept Christianity, not secularism. And so throughout time, these two forces have been pushing against each other.